We'll continue from where we stopped in the last video, and we'll be implementing a Google search clone. Now, our clone is going to be a very simplistic version of what Google search actually looks like. In fact, we're going to copy a lot of the templates from the Google search URL, but we're going to see how to make use of our template and how to get content into our template. Okay, so like I said, we'll be creating a clone. Let's visit google.com. Now we've got this page. Since assuming that we aren't designers, and the assumption we'll be making is this is going to be our design as possible to copy a lot of the content that is useful to us from this particular page. But before we continue, let's ensure that we have, before we continue, we need to create a new branch. And we need to create a new Git branch so that we can begin the whole process of developing this clone from scratch. And to do that, command is git checkout -b. I'm going to call this branch develop. Well, right now it's detecting that, okay, I'm currently in a new branch. So let me find where we stopped in the last class. We had a single URL known as home. Now I'm going to delete a lot of the code, and I'm only going to just render the index.html page. Okay, and I'm not sending any context parameter down the template, just rendering the index.html from the view. Now, the next step is to also delete all the content from our template and ensure that our template is as blank as possible. Now, if we are using Visual Studio Code comes with the Emmet plugin installed. And what Emmet does, it helps us to be able to scaffold HTML fast. As in, when working with HTML or CSS, it provides some nifty shortcuts to scaffold out the layout of our page as fast as possible. So one of the nifty shortcuts is by pressing the exclamation key and pressing tab, we come up with a very simple project layout, HTML scaffold. So with this, we can then return back to the Google page and right-click and inspect elements. Now, what we're interested in is this Google and the search, the input field. So we'll see how we can trace that. I'm going to snap my dev tools to the right so that I can easily see it. And you can see as I over each tag, detect it puts an overlay of the document it contains. So I'm going to start copying this span, go to right click, copy outside HTML. And with that, I come back to my HTML page and I paste it. Okay, let me copy it again. Just seem to have copied it. Delta HTML and paste. Now you can see we have a lot of HTML. I'm not even sure, but the text editor comes with Ctrl+Shift+P to bring out the list of supported commands, and we're interested in formatting the document. It formats the document to a considerable extent, but let's see if we can make it look better. So, try and indent our code where we can and see if the text editor helps us format further. Okay. So you can see this Google snippet consists of a lot of CSS and so a lot of styles and um, HTML. So for now, um, we're not going to be using a lot of the styles. So any style that comes with Google, we advertently delete it. We're interested in just the basic layout structure of the page. Now this can be painful to do, but part of the process of web development. Handle both the front-end design and the back-end design. Div. We have another style. This style does not give us much problem, so we'll just skip it. Ensure that the page is rendering well. Okay. And to a large extent, we've come up with a snippet that we can work with for our page. So let us see if this page is rendering correctly. At least to a large extent, we can see some of the content. Now remember the startup.sh script that we created. We'll just need to run that. So startup.sh, that's our virtual environment. And if we type the command flask run, our server should be up and running. And with that, let's open a new tab. Go to localhost colon 5000. Now but we cannot see the logo and we cannot see the text field. Of course, that is because let us see if we can find out where that is and see what we can do with that. Now let's find where the logo is. The logo is located a div tag with a background size image. So we're going to select on the style. We are going to copy it. Then we're going to come to our text editor. I'm going to find where that is. And we found it. So if you remember, we deleted a style element. The assumption is that style must have been responsible for our page. But that's not going to be a problem. What we're going to do in this case is we're going to, instead of coming up with a style for the Google design, we're going to implement it as an image. And to do that, we're going to make use of a tool in Windows known as the sniping tool. We are using a Mac or Linux. Pretty sure there are other alternatives to be able to snipe, to be able to create a snippet of a text. So I'm going to get the image and I'm going to save this in the location of my project. Now, the name of our project is Learning Flask. I'm going to create a new directory known as static. To delete this Google's folder. And in this static, I'm going to call this Google logo. and it saves the extension .png. Now, the reason we named our folder static is because Flask automatically detects, it assumes a naming convention for the name of the folder where our HTML is stored and the name of the folder where all our assets are the JavaScript, the CSS, where anything that has to do with the design, the look of our page are stored. Flask automatically assumes that the folder is called static and the template is called template if we don't specify it when we're initializing the Flask object. It automatically assumes that that is the name we are keeping. So with that, if we check our static folder, we have the Google logo.png. Now let's see if we can reference that image in our template. So image source is equal to supposed to be /static/ Google logo.png. It's always good to use an alt Google logo. And with this, if we try refreshing our page, it renders. But we are actually doing something wrong. And that's because you can see we had coded the source URL. Now, say for some reason, we decide we don't want to name our template and the folder where we save our static files static. Give it a different name. And or it's stored in a different location from where it currently is. Because of the way we had coded it, it means anytime we change the directory, we have to remember to change the location, to have to remember to change the URL for all references to that particular folder. Because we want to avoid that, we have to make use of, we need to provide a way by which we ask Flask for the location of the static folder. We can easily use something known as a template function that Flask provides to automatically render the path to whatever static file we want to access. So instead of hard coding this, we can provide an alternative syntax by making use of the URL for function that comes with. It's actually a function that Flask provides in our template. And the first parameter is the name of the folder, which in this case is static folder. And it takes the second parameter, which is the file name, which points to the name of the file, which in this case is Google logo.png. And with this, if we're to refresh our page, it should still render correctly. And our page still renders correctly. If you want to be sure that it's rendering correctly, you can right click on the image, inspect element, and you can see it still resolves to the static /Google. So now let me show you the advantage of doing it this way. So if for some reason we come to our main.py and we replace to say hello, the name of our static folder, and we come down here to rename our static folder to hello. As a result of this, if we're to refresh page without touching the template, we should still get the same image rendering correctly. And you can see the URL, because it automatically, Flask was able to know that anytime we specify static, it was pointing to .png, and it automatically generated the URL for us. So that is the advantage of using the URL for function in the template when mapping out the path for our static files. So I'm going to change the folder back to static, and I'm going to use the default behavior that Flask provides. All right. So now we've successfully implemented the Google logo, but we're still missing the, the input field. So I'm going to delete this Nigerian text since our image already contains the Nigerian text. All right. So let's return back to the Google page and let's try and find where input field was located. Now it's inside this input field. We scroll up and we move up and we move up. We're looking for the containing form element. You can find the containing form element. So we're going to copy this, copy outer HTML. Then we'll come to our template. Now, where is it located? It is located under, anyways, we're going to copy it. And just to be safe, we're going to put it under before the end of the center. We'll change the location later, but let us just get the page to display. Now, format the document. Okay, it ended up formatting it for me. And now let's put our page. Okay, so you can see it comes with some default search result. We're not interested in the search result. What we're interested in is just the input field. So at the end of the day, what we really need is just a form element and an input field. To anything else, we're not interested in it. So let's delete intelligently. So we know that everything here, I'm not interested in it. It goes away. Form element and input field. This also goes away. This also goes away. So let's see if we can find any input field. Everything here, we are not interested in it. It goes away. Everything here too goes away. But everything here goes away. Okay. So you can see we got some input there. So we can successfully make everything in this place. Or alternatively, we could make use. Yeah, we're just interested in the form tag and an input tag. So I'll throw this away. Interesting. We already have an input tag here. So although there are a lot of them, so we're going to remove all those the other input tags that we don't need. And if you observe, you can see that the input tag, we do have them with the type hidden, which is the reason why they are not showing. So just get the page to display well. Let us delete all the format documents, all the parts that are not useful to us, and we delete one of these. And we change the type, in this case, to be text. And so the only thing remaining is the closing tag of the form element. So the rest goes away. Format documents. Our page is not formatting well, but it really doesn't matter. All right. So let's successfully close my input tag. And if we're to refresh our page, we should have a simple form element. Now you can see our form element at the bottom. Let's see if we can drag this form element to where it's supposed to be. So right click, inspect element, you can see this is the old form element. So let's try dragging it to where we think it's supposed to be. So you can see the Google logo here. So we're going to put it immediately under it. And that location is, so the form element needs to be directly under the logo. And with that, let's implement the copy. Cut it out and we'll place it under the logo. So it means in the outer div. And go paste it here. If we were to refresh our page, our page is actually rendering correct, but the styling is a little bit off. So we need to find a way of ensuring that our form is a little bit nicer. And we're going to do that, we need to hook up our CSS, our cascading style sheet, to our page. Now, CSS is one of the assets responsible for the look and feel of our page. So we need to go to our static file and create a file known as site.style.css. And we need to add that style to our HTML index.html page. And to do that, from the head, create a link element. Just press the tab key. Emmet helps us automatically generate the snippet for the tag that we're working with. So make use of the URL for. Hope you understand the reason why I'm using this now. Point it to the static folder, and the file name is style.css. And with this, our static folder, of course, we don't currently have a style there, but everything should be working well. Now, when we are working with design, to a large extent, we want to implement our styling on the browser so that we can see how our styling affects the page. And once we've come up with a set of rules that we're willing to work with, we can then copy out the rules that we came up with and add them to our CSS file. Now I'm going to explain what that means. So right now, we're interested in styling. These are input field. Okay, so the first thing is these are input field is too close to the Google image. Well, in fact, it's actually the old form element that is actually close to the Google image, because the Google image is in this div tag. So for that, we are going to add a margin or a padding. It really doesn't matter. Padding, margin top 20 pixel. Or alternatively, let us use an EM so that it gives it more space. So 3 EM. So now there is more space. Now we're interested in styling the input element. Now the input element is actually quite small. Fix the width. Let us fix the width. Now if we set the width to 100% of the screen, you can see it spans the whole width, but that is kind of too much. So we're interested in something much smaller. So you can see how we're able to dynamically style our page, and making it 40% does the job. Now let's fix the height. Height, let us make use of something like, say, 35 pixel. And 35 pixel does the job. Now let's see our text. If we decide to type a text inside the input field, it looks small, so let us adjust the text size. And to do that, font size 15 pixel. And this is more than enough. So I'm going to stick with 20 pixels. And with that, we come up with the styling of our page. Now, what are the elements that we styled? We styled an input field and we styled field. So, call to our page automatically, the Google has the form class, the form tag copy already had the class known as TSF. So, in our style, form.tsf dot represents the class, and in this place we just copy the margin top that we implemented. This is the end. We know that the input field is inside the form element because of the descendant selector in CSF. So the form.tsf has a child of input field with a name of site for this element. And in this place, copy all the styling represented in our input field, the width of 40%, the height of 35%, and the font size of 20%. And we paste it on here. Let's say I look at the way I implemented where to put the style. For the form element, we tag, and it has the class of TSF, hence form.tsf. Being specific, you can see by hovering over the element, you can see it shows us the equivalent HTML. Form class is equal to TSF. Now, this the input field, I want it to be as specific as possible. So in case we might have added with multiple form elements on this page, I'm interested in the form element that add an input field with an attribute, with the attribute name set to site. Now you can see the input is not showing correctly. See if I can correct this. And let's over it. Well, it seems not to get, but anyways, since for now we are sure to a large extent that we're interested in any input inside the form with TSF. So our style should still apply. Now, if we're to refresh our page, all the styling should still persist, and they do. So our styling, we've successfully come up with the look and layout of our page. Now, the next course of action is to actually implement the search. Because if we look at the way Google works, if we type in a text, the Google automatically results to a new page. But the point is, when we type in something, I'll press the enter key, it should redirect us to a new page. If I type hello and I press the enter key, it should direct it to a page that shows list of results. But right now, I'm being shown not found. And that is because if we look at the URL from the home page to the search part, and it passes it a query parameter of site is equal to hello. Now let us see what is happening. Now we make use of the form element. It has a class. There's an action known as /search. Now this is what happens when we press the enter key. We're telling the form that on submitting this form, navigate to this particular URL. We're going to implement that soon. Also, we can see the form takes an attribute of the type of method, which in this case is get. If you remember in the last video, when we're passing query parameters to the URL, now we can see how it's being used from the context of a form. And the input field, see it has a name of site and a value of empty. So whatsoever content is populated in this input field, we get filled up in this value. So the next course of action now is to implement the search URL. the search route, and it is app.route. I'm going to call it the search page, and I'm going to return render templates results.html. So for now, I'm going to render the results.html. So in our index.html, I'll need to create the results.html page. This now, if we issue a search from our, okay, so currently right now, we're running into an error, line 13, there's an error main.py. So this is shown that we can run into, and to a large extent, flask tells us when we make a mistake. So line 13 is the issue. Let's see what we do. So app.route search. And what is the problem? Okay. Let's refresh our page again. It must have been an indentation issue. So we type hello, our page is not capturing an error, but it is actually still empty. So, and that is because our result.html page is empty. Now, we want to use the same CSS file, and we don't want to have to copy all the contents of the index.html, as in we don't want to have to implement the scaffold. We want to be able to reuse our template and only to reuse information from the index.html and only change specific portions that are relevant to the content of the result page. So in this case, instead of having to implement this scaffold again and come up with specific styling for the result page, what we'll do instead is we're going to make use of some filters that Jinja provide that helps us with a lot of the work. And the first one is the extend filter and the extend tag, sorry. The extend tag enables us to be able to inherit a particular template, kind of like how you inherit stuff in Python. As in a Python class, you're inheriting the functionality of a particular class and that class. The same thing will be done with the Jinja template. And this, if we're to refresh the results of the, we should get exactly the same content as we do have on our start page, on the home page. But we don't want to show this. What we're interested in showing is a different content. But because we're importing the content of the result, we are essentially getting everything. So we need to provide a way whereby we can inherit content from a particular page, but we can override certain areas of that page for us to replace with our unique content. And to do that, we come back to the index page. Now we know that from the span immediately after the body, those are information that is unique to this home page. But in our result page, it's going to show something else. So we're going to make a template tag that Jinja provides, known as the block tag. And we're going to call this block body. Then we're going to copy the content of this class inside the body block. But we've not done anything different yet. Our search page shows exactly the same result. But if we come back to our result.html page and we override, create that same body tag, now implicitly we are now telling our computer, we're not telling Flask that we want to replace the content of the block tag from the parent with our own unique content. So if I were to just write something like, say, I had to write something like H2 hello world. Even though I was inheriting from the index.html, I have completely thrown out, I've completely overridden all the content, all the Google image and form element with this hello world. Now, if for some particular reason I'm interested in still using the content from the parent page, which in this case is the index page, but I want to add some extra content, then Flask provides a template in a template data inside a block to pull information from the parent, and that is by calling super. By calling super as a function, just the way we call super in a Python method in a Python class, the same way we call super in a Jinja template. And with this, we end up getting the content that we initially had before, but also our extra contents which overrode. So this is how we can reuse functionalities, as we can share templates, we can override sections of a template, or we can extend sections of a template. But in this case, we're not interested in the Google behavior. So let's delete the dummy content to create it. All right. Now let us come up with a simple scaffold for the look of this page. So come back to Google, invent simple search, and I press the enter key. Google Drive comes up with a set of results. Now we're going to make our template as simple as possible. I'm interested in these 3 results, the way the results are displayed. So I'm going to right click, inspect element. There are a lot of things happening. Let me put my text editor at the bottom. So I'm going to scroll to the point where I can get everything. All right, and also the padding. So I'm going to copy this class and this element, copy outer HTML. And I'm going to come inside my body tag and I'm going to paste it. Go to format my document so that the page is laid out. And with this, if I were to refresh the document, it should show the content of our page. So we have Google Drive. Okay. So, of course, we expect different sets of results on this page. Now, if we're to study how this page is, we can see that there's an area. Let us look at the actual Google example. There's an area marked in blue, which is supposed to represent the title of the search result. And it's also clickable. So chances are it's an anchor tag that consists of the URL. There's also a URL section highlighted in green. And then there's the content of the search result. And also some other extra information, like the last day it was checked. All right. So with this, we've broken down the content of this tweet into of this result into the title of the search of an item in the search result, the URL of the result, and the content, the result, the summary of the item. So since this information is going to be coming from the backend, we cannot just render out the result the way we're using, the way as we just pasted it in our template. We have to be able to abstract those placeholders. So the title once you render the title for a particular page, the content of the title is what gets rendered, the URL and the body. And also, since the result is going to be coming as an array, as a list of results, we have to provide a simple way by which we can send down the list of results, and our template knows how to render those results correctly. So to implement that, we're going to a large extent, try how this behavior is going to look like. So we know that the list of search results is most likely going to be a list. So we're going to make use of, so for item in right now, since nothing is coming from the server, we're going to make use of the range keyword in Python, and we're going to look through. We want to get just 4 elements. So you can see most of the functions we have in Python and inbuilt functions are also available in Jinja. Not all of them, but most of them. If you want to find out more about Jinja specific functions and filter, you can just Google flask jinja. It should take us to the docs, and we can read more on the template section of the flask documentation for more information on that. So coming back to our page, then we can now copy the whole content of this and paste it inside it. And with this, if we were to refresh our page, we should get the result to be printed out 4 times. And as you can see, the result is printed out 4 times. Now, this result is coming from the server. So it means we need to abstract out content and represent it with the object, the way we're able to represent what an actual search item represents. We're able to break it down to the title, the URL, and the content. So coming back to our main.py, we're expecting, in this case, we're still going to work with a single variable, but we're going to change along the way. We're expecting send down data. We're going to create a simple data variable, which is the dictionary of the title, the URL, and content. For the content or summary, it really doesn't matter. Now let us see which part changes and which part is the same. So I'm going to use a simple URL case. This is an example of the URL. And let's see. Let us look at it well. So the URL is okay. So this is the URL. Let's copy it out. Control X. In fact, I'm going to just cut it directly and replace it with the actual template, which in this case is going to be what data.url. And this URL, I'm going to paste. So the result is going to be coming from the template. Okay. And also now we're going to using the actual URL. Since we're not implementing everything that Google implements, we're going to end up using the actual URL instead of the funny looking URL we are seeing from Google. So still going to be data.do this. We're interested in this data.url. I'm going to replace this URL with the actual Google implementation, with our actual implementation, the actual URL implementation. So we've done that. Title. Now the title is this. So We'll cut this and replace it with data.title, and the title will paste out what we just copied. Then finally, we got the body section. You can see there are other more information on this page. We have the time ago and we have a link pointing to Twitter. But for now, we're just interested in the three: the title, the URL, and the body. So with this, for the body, the assumption is the content of the body is an HTML element. So as in the body is, we're actually sending down an HTML element from the server, and we expect our template to successfully render it. So the assumption is everything here is actually the content of the body. So we're going to cut this and replace it with data.content. The content for here, and I'm going to make use of a triple quote, paste out the content of the HTML. So the assumption is the content key sends down an HTML from the server. To refresh our page, we can see that we're running into an error 917. What is the error? There's a dangling tag. So let's fix that. 917. And what is causing it? Okay. Ctrl-Shift-P, format document. What is causing the error? Sometimes Flask could misbehave. We're not running into any indentation error. Let us ensure that we're doing the right thing. Okay. All right. So let's refresh our page again. All right. Now you can see it looks like the content that is coming from the server is actually more. And you can see the div, the HTML divs are not rendering. And that is one attribute of the Jinja template in Flask. It's to a large extent as in it ensures that every HTML template is escaped. So, and that is in a good thing because it prevents an attacker from injecting HTML content into our site and getting our site to render it. They could do a lot of things with that. So Flask automatically escapes HTML content. But since we know that this information is coming from our database and we are sure that we want the HTML to actually render correctly, then we're going to make use of something known as a filter. Now, a filter is a way to modify the content information that we are expressing on the template. Now, the filter we're going to be making use of is the save filter. Now, what the save filter does is it's kind of like we are calling the save function and we are passing the content of the template of the template data inside our function. Calling the save filter. What the save filter does is it tells Jinja that this result is valid. Render it the way it's supposed to be. If you want to find out more about filter, can always filters and other filters that Jinja provides. Can always check the template tag in documentation. If we were to refresh our page, end up with, see how we've made use of the for loop template. We made you, as in we abstracted the contract content use of an object so that we can render out the, evaluate the result of the variable in the template, title, the URL, the content, and also how to display HTML data in a safe way with Jinja. Now, the final step is, right now, we can see the for loop to paint the sensor of it. But instead of this range 4, chances are the result is going to be coming from the server. So we want to be sending the list of results down the template. So we're expecting the template, a variable from the view known as results. And since we're rendering the data here, we're going to change this item to data. So go to break because the template is not sending down the list of results. So we have to ensure that it is sending down the list of results. And these results must be a list. So I'll just create a very simple list of one data. And if I to refresh our page, list, if I were to update this with another single data, add another data, our page should be updated with a list results. So fully play in the vplate. Let us get it to look a little bit nicer. Then we look at the Google on huge, right? So the parent container is really the body. So let's div and we put the conloop in container in that tag. Okay. Now let's give it a class name. I'm going to call it search results. Also, we're also expecting the right content. That's some cases my content results, some cases my not content results, but let us account for that. We have, and I'm going to call it typing out the old tag. I could make use of the shortcut where dot represents the class name, and I specify the name of the class, and I press the tab key, and it helps me to generate the tag. That is what Emmet does for us. So with this, of course, nothing changes yet. And since everything, to wrap everything in a div. So parent div, let's copy out all the content, cut it, and we're going to paste it right there. See, I'm always formatting my document so that to a large extent I understand what I'm doing. Now, with this, now let's implement the styling. Like I said, anytime we're implementing styling, we always want to use this so that we're interested in the old document. The padding should exist for the old. So we're not applying it in the body, we're applying it in the parent div element. With this, we set a margin of say 3 EM. more, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be more than enough. So you can see these margins applying bottom to the left to the right. Now it depends. We might not want the one at the bottom, so we specify the dimension. It starts from the left and the top. So let's see. It takes in 4 parameters. Now, if we were to reduce this, you can see the very first one means the top. Next one means the right. So we're always moving in a clockwise direction. From the top, that is the first one, to the right, to the bottom, to the left. So we want on our bottom is 0 padding. We want it to be 7. Our right will also want it to be 7. To be here. And with that, we can start it quickly. I'll finish page before moving to our CSS and copying out the file. Now we have the search result. You can see the search result is occupying the whole layout of the search content, which isn't what we want. So we want to ensure that it doesn't occupy. So we set the width, we to constrain the width to be 60% of the page. Content should be 40 of the page. But it doesn't look like the right content, where content in the right content. So let us, for the case of this design, impute the content inside HTML. I'm going to just type in hello world. We'll click outside. So now you can see the hello world is still showing directly under using the width. And the reason is because of the default behavior of a div element. Now a div element is a block element. And a block element always occupies, implies a block occupies the next line by default. So we change the behavior of this particular div from being a block inline block element. So block element both and a block on. So we want to change display to an inline block element because it's not, and there is still space at the side. It's going to behave, and we set it as an inline block element. It's going to behave as an inline element in this place. You can see it has itself 60% width. And on the right hand side, we do the same thing. It's still assuming the behavior of the element, even though the width has been set to 40%. The display and block element. Now it's still appearing that it's under, but if we to reduce width a little bit, now both of them are not sharing the same viewport. Also, we can see the text is appearing at the bottom, here at the top. So we need to make use rule the car align with top that appears at the top. There are a lot of them, and see with anyone. See which one we want. Can see text bottom, text up, element with middle. Let's look at the middle. It's at the bottom. Well, let's just leave it at up. We have the layout of our page. We first start with, you can see it doesn't have a class. So we're going to container class train, and then to come back to our style, the CSS content, and we paint of our style, margin, and we'll paste it here. Is the search content, the search results. Come back to our page, find the search results, copy the styling we implemented to our page, and we'll paste it and find out content. Now let us put a dummy text. You search for drive. Then copy out the style, copy, and we paste the content with the page. Styling should persist. You search for Google Drive. All right, we've successfully laid out the page. But if we delete any query parameter, we end up with the same set of content. So we want to display this page such that if the person by some mistake or intentionally lands on this page without a search parameter, to still display the content of the index page back to the person for him to search it, saying you did not type any results. But if he actually did not type any search parameter, but if he actually types a search parameter, then the page displays with a set and it takes mentioning what the search parameter are. So I'm going to solve the second exercise for us. And what I'm going to solve is going to be the simple one. We want to the information we need. I've already explained it. So now we want to figure out the content that was being searched for. So we know that you search for this Google Drive, supposed to be query. So the first thing first is the URL. We're expecting search param. Search param is equal to search param. Now we're going to create a variable known as search param, and search param is query parameter. Remember, request target and name of variable in this case is site. So I'm going to add site is equal to drive. We get Google Drive. Well, I run into an error. Let's see if we can know that it most likely be refresh page. Google, but it's hello. This is hello. Come back to our page to type Yahoo direct to the page and should display Yahoo. But if we're to come to the assignment now is if we're to come here and we didn't type anything here, and we're to press enter, plain, the error message with parameter display back to us. To type do that. Also, I done. Commit out the remain.